Hey y'all, and welcome back to our channel. In today's video, we're going to show you how we flat tow our Jeep.
So first we'll walk you through the steps that we take setting up our flat tow system, hooking the Jeep up, setting up the braking system, and all that good stuff. Then we'll talk through how you can determine if you'll be able to flat tow a second vehicle behind your rig. And then we'll walk you through some of the pros and cons that we've experienced within our first 6 months of being on the road flat towing a second vehicle behind our rig.
Yep, so let's go get her all hooked up.
now that we took a look at how we go ahead and get our flat towing rig all set up, let's talk about how we determined if we would be able to actually flat tow the vehicle. Now that's actually the number one reason we're making this video, is we've had a lot of people reach out to us and ask us like, hey, how did you know you were safe to tow your vehicle? How did you look into it? Well, one, like, talk to your shop. They're gonna have an idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Two, is your bus already struggling without flat towing a vehicle? Maybe it's not a good idea.
Maybe not then.
But three, the obvious answer is take a look at your owner's manual. So we had this engine guide that came with our owner's manual, and it had a lot of great information in it. Now it's just knowing what numbers you need to look at. So a few of the key terms that you're going to look at are gross vehicle weight rating, GCWR, and then gross cargo weight rating, GCWR, and then I believe there's maximum trailer weight in this guide as well. So our gross vehicle weight rating, which I don't believe is in this guide, probably somewhere, but it is on the stamp inside the door, is 14,500. Now gross vehicle weight rating means how much weight are you allowed inside of your vehicle, or part of your vehicle.
Yeah, so everything in your conversion.
There's also gross axle weight rating. We're not going to dive into that, but that's something. Yeah, but that's something to keep in mind as well, is how much weight is over most likely your rear axle. But because flat towing doesn't really add any additional weight to your rear axle, we didn't have to factor that into this. So if I take a look at our gross cargo weight rating, GCWR, it's rated at 20,000 pounds. Our maximum trailer weight is 10,000 pounds. Our Jeep is right around 4,000 pounds, so obviously for the trailer weight, we're perfect. We're well under the trailer weight. Next up, let's take your bus, get it weighed, determine your weight. Ours is just under 14,000 pounds, but for easy math, let's just call it 14,000 pounds. So if your gross cargo weight rating is 20,000 pounds, and your vehicle, your bus itself, is 14,000 pounds, that leaves you 6,000 pounds left that you could be towing behind you. Now our Jeep, like I said, is right around 4,000 pounds, so we are under the total weight rating by 2,000 pounds. So we're plenty safe. Yep. So these are all things, like I said, are just great to take a look at. Obviously, make the decision based off of what you're comfortable with. If you don't think your bus can do it, then maybe don't do it. You know, like,
For sure.
Drive around your bus a lot and know. Crunch the numbers, talk to a shop.
We actually prefer when the Jeep is attached. It weighs the vehicle down a little bit and you kind of don't get that swayingness. You're moving slower, so always consider that. You are moving slower.
Yep.
And you're really long at that point. Like, we're pretty long.
Yeah.
We actually prefer the feeling of it, like, weighted down with the Jeep attached. It just sticks better to the road a little bit.
So it sounds like she's jumping ahead into some pros and cons, apparently.
Yes!
Luckily, actually, everything she just said wasn't on our just top 3 pros and cons list. But I'll actually just address what she just said right there and back that is the towed vehicle actually helps the bus handle better, especially in wind. Sometimes you'll get a little funkiness with the tow, but flat tow is by far the simplest way to tow something.
Yeah.
You have 4 wheels down with the Jeep. And we really like the way that the bus handles when it's towing.
Yeah, she just sticks and it feels comfortable.
Sure.
Let's dive into some pros and cons. All right, so having a second vehicle is awesome, right? Like, you have your getaway vehicle, you have your grocery runs, so your driving days aren't as long because they're longer because you're moving slower, but they're not as long because you don't have to do all your errands in one clip. So, like, we don't have to go to the grocery store when we're moving the bus because we have the getaway vehicle, we have the Jeep to do that. Or going to trailheads. We do a lot of mountain biking, we do a ton of hiking. So, like, for us, like, having that off-road capable vehicle with us that the bus just could not get to some trails is great.
So that's pro number 1,
Yeah.
having a getaway vehicle.
For sure. Second is just in event of a breakdown, right? Like, in the event of a breakdown, you have it. So,
Yep.
like, you might be able to sleep at the shop in your bus, which is great, but if you can't,
You'll
have
be able
something.
to get to a hotel. Also, if you are sleeping in a shop and So this actually happened to us on our breakdown. We ended up getting to the shop at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and I was not in the mood to cook. So we were able to hop in the Jeep, run over to our local Taco Bell in the little town we were in, pick up some takeout, bring it back to the bus, relax, get comfortable again, and eat some food. So in the event of a breakdown, it's really huge. I mean, if you break down on the side of the highway in the middle of nowhere, Utah,
you can go get somebody.
In the middle of Wyoming, you can drive into town. If it's simply a flat, you could always, if you have a jack it up, bring your wheel, go to a shop, get a new wheel brought on. Now you don't have to worry about a tow.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a pro in the event of a breakdown.
And personally, my favorite thing about having a second vehicle is checking out campsites before you get there. So we'll pull up to a spot that we feel comfortable to put the bus. We'll lock the bus up, and then we'll take the Jeep out, and we'll find the perfect spot. So we're not being like, oh, can we make it up that hill? We drive the Jeep up. We know exactly if we can make it up or not. We know how rough the terrain is or how many ruts in the road there are. So having that, like getting into a situation that you can't get the bus out, is a really good option when you have the second vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. You go down some forest roads and turning around is going to be really tough on a lot of them. So it'd be unfortunate to start driving in with your bus and find out you can't turn around.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps because the Jeep, the second vehicle, is going to be a lot quicker at exploring the area. So in the bus, you might drive in 10 minutes on the forest road and
no
get
sight.
exhausted. Or there is a site and you're exhausted and you want to stop because you've been riding that washboard for long enough. Well, if you scouted it out in the Jeep, you might know if you just did 5 more minutes, you have an incredible view of the mountains that surround Sedona. As we found in Sedona.
That was the exact situation. So obviously there's a ton of pros to having it, but there are some cons. So one is cost of maintaining 2 vehicles. That's a huge one. You probably know that, but like that is a huge one. You're 2 vehicles to gas up, 2 vehicles to keep up maintenance with, the oil changes, all of that good stuff, the breakdowns.
2 vehicles to insure. To
insure, yeah, you're paying insurance as well. So the cost in the maintenance of 2 vehicles is always something to consider, depending on your budget and your lifestyle. Also, something that we've looked into a little bit is having a second getaway vehicle can actually cause you a little bit more, how would I say it, like stress. Like you're not forced to just enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know if stress would put it the right way. It's not that it's causing you stress. It's that it's not putting you in a situation to make you sit still.
Yes.
And this is something that I particularly we both do a little bit, but me in particular struggle with sitting still. I get somewhere, I'm like, let's explore. Let's go check out this. Let's go on this hike. Let's go mountain biking next. And having the Jeep obviously makes that a lot easier. Some of our friends that don't have a second vehicle have talked to us. It's kind of nice that like they get somewhere and if they want to go somewhere, they have to move the bus.
Yep.
So they're a little more stuck, and that can be very refreshing, actually.
Yeah, like to read or just to like really relax. There's no pressure of the...
Yeah, and another example is just groceries, right?
Yeah.
So like, if we're like, oh man, we really want to make pizzas tonight, but we don't have any vegan cheese. Well, with the Jeep, if there's a grocery store in town that might have vegan cheese, we can hop in the Jeep, go down and get it. Without that second vehicle, you're going to eat what's in your refrigerator, which is actually, we're saying that as a nice part.
Yes.
So the being stuck, although we were saying that as a con when we were talking about pros, it's now as a pro.
It has its pro, for sure. And last one is an additional step when you're moving. Moving days, if you live in a rig, you know can be stressful. There's a lot of steps. You have to clean the dishes, etc., etc. And depending on your rig is depending on what you have to do.
The dishes is the #1 step of moving day.
I know, it's such a pain in the butt. So having that additional step to hook up the flat tow, whether it really only takes us 10 minutes, but it is something to consider, right? It's additional vehicle to tow. It's just something else on your mind that you have to do before you move.
Yeah, and it's not just the setup, it's also the breakdown. It's there's multiple steps to it. You have the tow bar that you now have to put away as well. It adds some more time to your moving day.
Yeah.
The other thing is you're moving slower. You know, so that's also adding time to
we're not moving fast anyways.
Yeah, we're not moving fast anyways, but like you're moving slower. When you're looking for a gas station, you're looking for the biggest, most convenient gas station possible that's going to allow us, with our full rig is almost 50 foot, to allow you to do that conveniently.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
So now that we went over some of the pros and cons with flat towing, and we've showed you the process that we take in flat towing, comment below your thoughts. Do you think towing a vehicle is great? Do you think it's more of a nuisance than it's actually worth? Let us know your thoughts. And also, we'd really appreciate. Go ahead, like the video, comment, subscribe. Thanks for all of the support.
Guys. Cheers.
Cheers.